I taught Brendan how to sell cigarettes at school and used to... I did. Taught him how to hustle young. I taught him how to hustle young, Jenny. As I moved in, that's what I taught him how to hustle young. That's what it is.
He'll always have a vocation.
He will.
Yeah, hustling cigarettes to school children.
Well, this is Man Sharpens Man, episode number 30. We are here with Jenny... How do you say your last name?
Jenny Manian.
Manian. I always say it like Mania or Manian.
It's Armenian.
Is it Armenian?
Yeah.
Armanian?
Armenian.
Armenian's Armenian?
Yeah.
That's kind of a good fun thing to say. I like that.
IAN name, like 9 times out of 10, it's Armenian.
Armenian.
Yeah.
So is that Luke's? That's Luke's name, isn't it? Because you're married to Luke and you took his name.
I am.
That's right.
I did.
You took the huge marital plunge.
Yeah.
But we're Man Sharpens Man. You're my second woman guest in a row because I just had Jen on. And now I have Jenny on.
Look at you. You're like some kind of Jenny feminist.
And I'm anti-misogynist or whatever.
That's
well, I'm not anti.
Fuck the misogynist.
Yeah, exactly.
Or don't.
Or try. That's what we were just talking about. It'd be nice if girls were a little more selective, wouldn't it? And wouldn't fuck a misogynist here and there. But they're putting out for them.
You should. I'm a huge believer that you should vote with your pussy. Like,
it's like casting your dollar vote.
Yeah, like if you don't want, like, don't fuck.
Way too many people are voting for Kanye West and stuff like that right now. It's making me mad.
What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's gonna run for office?
No, they're voting for him with their pussy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they're casting pussy ballots.
Yeah.
That would be a funny way to vote.
Yeah.
To be able to. There'd be some girls that definitely get 2 votes.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where this is going.
I don't know either. Donald Trump would be trying to grab your vote for sure, wouldn't he? See, I knew there was a joke in there, Jenny.
I would rather burn my vote.
See, I could squeeze the joke out of it.
Donald Trump have it.
I knew I could squeeze a joke out of that shit. That's how it is. That's how it is.
That vote would be incinerated.
Not because he makes you hot, though.
No.
Because then you would actually put the incineration
with the
out.
The
rage of the burning feminist vagina. You are not a feminist, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am.
I wouldn't consider you one.
I would.
Nope, I don't. You know what's funny to me is I think most women that would call themselves feminists are the ones I would least consider feminists.
Well, that might be because there are people who are not feminists telling you what feminism is.
Maybe. Or maybe I just don't understand the nature of feminism.
Feminism only means one thing. That people have the same rights and worth regardless of whatever's in their pants. And that's all it is. And everything else that people put on it is fucking bullshit to divide us.
Oh, I didn't see that. I thought it was way more complex.
No,
I
that's
thought that real, like, undercover, cunty, catty women were the most feminist ones of all. That's the ones I thought. And they ones that pretend like they aren't feminists.
Like, alright. There are assholes in every fucking aspect of humanity. And I will not deny that there are asshole feminists. Or people who claim what feminism is.
Is there a yin to the feminism, yang? Is there an opposite? What is that? Is there a manism?
They call themselves men's rights activists.
And they're basically just pussies.
They're assholes. They're assholes. And not all of them, because
They want more than 2 weekends a month at Burger King with their kid. Those are the ones,
like, that's, like, I fucking support that.
I do too, but the ones that go take it too far are the activists.
There are guys in the men's rights activist movement that believe rape should be legal. That if a woman goes on your property, you're legally entitled to rape her. Fuck those guys.
God dang.
Like,
I bet you a lot of them own big properties with confusing property lines.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
They build their shit next to the tart trail.
Oh, my God.
They're like, fuck, move my property stakes a little bit. That's how them Al-Qaeda's and shit can be like that, too. Some of that Taliban shit calls for that type of shit. A lot of it gets back to religion. It's the root of a lot of evil.
You know, rape has always been used as a tool of oppression. So...
It's a fucking horrible, weird tool.
Mazel tov. People are fucked up.
Hell yeah, that does not fit in the tool bag good.
No. Tim needs to go back to the office.
Yeah, that tool time is not cutting it.
But there's also, like the woman who shot Andy Warhol believes in cutting off every dick she can find.
Did she kill Andy Warhol when she shot him?
No, she didn't die.
Why'd she shot him for some feminist reason?
Yeah, because he was.
So you're educating me right now. See, this is Man Sharpens Man, but since you're my second woman, I also wanted to show my audience woman can sharpen man.
Maybe it's.
And you're teaching me right now. I didn't know Andy Warhol had gotten shot.
Yeah, he got shot by this lady. I can't remember her name. But she wrote this manifesto about, like, killing dudes because, you know, they're oppressive, which they are, but you
and
can't, you're just not fucking allowed to kill people because you want to kill
every
them.
Species of animal is weird. There's only one fair species I've recently learned about. There's this fucking worm. It's called, hold on, I remember what kind of worm it is. Flatworm. It's called a flatworm.
Oh, God, no!
Yeah. Well, it's not as disgusting as you think. It lives at the bottom of the sea.
Okay.
So it's like a beautiful sea creature. And it's actually kind of pretty. It kind of looks like a seahorse, but it's a different shape.
Okay.
And they just call them flatworms. I don't know why. They don't look nothing like a worm.
Yeah.
But guess how they reproduce? This is going to freak you out.
What?
They get into a wrestling match. And this is like, they have a porn section like this too. But anyhow, they get into a wrestling match.
They have a porn section for worms?
No. They have
like, that's a fetish?
No, a wrestling thing. It's more about the wrestling.
Oh, okay, I get
it.
The
wrestling match, whoever loses the wrestling match in gay porn sometimes gets fucked. So they'll, like, have two dudes wrestle each other. Or sometimes they'll have, like, two lesbians wrestle each other. And then whoever, like, fake pins the other one, they get to strap on and bang the loser.
Why is it always homosexual pornography?
It's not. It's women too. It's women too. That's why I cleaned it up there. Because it was, at first I thought it was only gay porn. Because I heard about it on another podcast, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Okay, that sounds good.
It's a good podcast. It's got Big J. Okerson. He's a vile motherfucker. I like his brand of vileness once in a while. It is fun. But anyhow, it's wrestling porn, and you lose, and the loser gets fucked. Well, guess what? I learned this.
Sad.
This I learned on.
Double whammy.
That's a real double whammy. Well, the flatworm lives like that in real life. The loser, they're transgender.
Yeah.
Or whatever you call it. I don't know.
The
loser becomes the girl because they both have a penis. So they spar with each other like this, like sabers. Yep, like tips of saber, and whoever wins penetrates the other one and fertilizes it.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Isn't it? And then you get to be the mom, and then the dad, no child support or nothing, gets to go look for another wrestling match. Yep.
So, like, you have to have a bunch of kids when you're young.
Yep, exactly.
And, like, as you get older, you can just
You'll probably fail once. Yep. Once you get old, you either got to cash out.
I'm going to be just like my daddy.
Just count your notches, or you get a little bit old, and someone at the nursing home turns you into a mom. Yeah, because you get old and weak.
Wow.
They can rape you easy in a nursing home.
That is so sad.
Isn't a nursing home a scary thought, Jenny?
Oh, man. That's so... Yeah,
every time I drive by one where I can tell the fucking dude made the sign himself and it's like a 5-bedroom house, I'm always like, someone is getting their fucking butthole fingered in there. Something wrong is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a bed sore in there unattended. I mean, there's nothing funny about elder abuse, but... I mean, they say only the good die young, Jenny, so maybe there is something funny about elder abuse. Maybe there's a tiny bit of funniness there.
I don't even want to laugh at that. It makes me feel so sad inside.
We all have a grandma. And I know, but I was just saying, every time I see one of them, crooked shit's going on at those places.
I don't have a grandma, John. My grandma's dead.
Aw. No, you still have her in a way. You've had her. You had her. Yeah, she's there for you.
Yeah.
She was there for you when you needed her the most, when she banged your grandpa.
Oh, my God. This guy.
I'm just saying, you wouldn't even be here now without that.
Yeah,
it's all about
that's true. I wouldn't be here. That's right.
To be here.
I can't wait. I really want to be a grandma. I don't so much want to be a mom. Like, I only want to have kids so I can have grandchildren.
Yeah, because kids are shitty.
Yeah,
grandkids aren't that shitty.
But the thing is...
Grandkids, you're not going to live old enough to see them be shitty middle-aged people.
If I'm not invested in my kids that much, maybe I'll have grandkids a little quicker. It's the one upside.
Yeah, that is a good way. That does kind of work out. Like it feeds itself almost.
And I don't feel bad about it. Like, maybe I will if my child hears this in 20 years, but...
It's like how I don't feel bad having a dog that eats cat poop because it makes you don't have to clean the litter boxes
clean up
off.
That litter box. Yeah. That's right. Recycling.
Yep, it's all good. It's what some people call it neglect and other people call it love.
Yeah.
Love takes strange forms, Jenny.
That's right.
You know what I was talking to?
Sometimes it looks like a worm that's been squished.
Yeah, a flatworm. That's some freaky love. Wrestling love. Have you ever been on a podcast before, Jenny?
Yeah, I've been on Matt Zarrilli's podcast.
Oh, you were on the thing recently.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm going to be on there soon, too.
Awesome.
See, I want to learn from the thing because those guys have their shit on iTunes.
Yeah.
And getting your podcast on iTunes isn't like you won the lottery. It's easy. I mean, like, I'm not putting down their shit. They got game to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I looked up the steps, and you have to, like, have a website, which isn't, like, the hardest thing. I just have to finish setting it up. And once you have a website, every time you do a podcast, you have to, like, set up a blog in your website about that podcast and have a HTML address to link it to.
Yeah.
But then, or some shit, like, I'm probably even saying the wrong shit. So if someone listening can help me. But anyhow, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking up the steps to get on iTunes, and it's pretty easy for someone that's not retarded like me. I'm not retarded. I'm capable of learning, but I was away from computers and all that shit for a long time.
I technically, I have a learning disability.
So, a real learning disability? Do you see things backwards or upside down or something like that?
I have dyslexia pretty bad.
Dyslexic?
Dyslexia? Just don't ask me to spell it. Yeah. And
so having dyslexia and DCO at the same time. Get it? Turns your OCD into DCO. You got disorder, compulsive.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it'd be.
What?
I can't say it backwards.
Boy,
here at Man Sharpens Man, we dull up once in a while, don't we?
That's all right.
That's part of the fun, too. It's part of the fun show, Jen. It's part of the fun of the show. I love to smoke me a fat doob. Way before the show, I always put one in me. Put one in me on the way to the studio, always.
Yeah, I like to live clean. I like that clean living.
It is good for you.
I don't drink the alcohol. That's it.
That's it.
Really?
You got to. I mean, you gotta...
I like to,
You gotta love what you do.
I...
When it starts getting in the way of life, then it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't enjoy it, like, if you didn't enjoy not drinking, it would suck.
Like... Oh, no, believe
me. Like, if you were denying yourself drinking.
I would much rather be drinking.
No, you don't think that, do you?
Yeah.
Have you had a point where you drank before? I didn't even know that about you. I thought you didn't...
I don't drink because I have a problem drinking.
Oh, I never knew that about you. I would have never guessed that. You seem very sober and
That's because I'm sober now.
Oh, see? I just thought you just chose that because it chose you.
No.
Isn't it weird?
People think that it's because I'm, like, religious.
Well, it's just because you don't look like a dirty girl. Most of the time, girls have to, like, hit rock bottom.
Oh, my God.
And for girls, once you hit rock bottom, it usually looks like you hit rock bottom. And then it's easy to tell when someone used to be a drinker, usually.
I would drink, like, a glass jug of wine at 11 a.m.
That is drinking. That's drinking.
Yeah,
That's getting tore up from the floor up there.
Yeah. And also getting on the way to diabetes. That's a good... You want diabetes, get yourself some sangria.
Yeah, that's a lot of sugar in that shit, isn't it?
Fuck!
That's one thing. Like, when I was a kid, I used to force myself to drink because booze always tasted like shit.
Yeah, it did.
I never really enjoyed drinking. I just drank to be cool half the time back then.
Yeah.
And then, like, now that I'm older and I really don't fucking like drinking, they come up with all this beautiful, delicious boozes.
Yeah.
Some of the boozes they have right now, Jen.
So good.
Oh, they're fucking delicious.
Well, it's been a few years, but like
there was some delicious boozes 3 years ago. It hasn't like ever since Four Locos has been out for a while.
Yeah.
That was like shit like that was the beginning of what's going on. Like they just started making sugar water with poison in it.
When I was a kid, all we had was King Cobra in a brown paper bag.
Oh, there's always going to be when I was a kid. When I was a kid is going to start speeding up because the way they're talking about, like, the technology curve is getting exponential. Like, we're getting on the verge of AI. And once that hits, like, we could start experiencing, like, 10,000-year leaps every day. Like, that's what exponential means. So when I was a kid, could turn into a phrase that doesn't make any fucking sense real soon, because things are getting freaky fast.
I don't think I want to live forever.
No, I don't think I want to either.
I
There's no happy impermanence.
I do think AI could be the second coming of Christ, though.
It is.
Like, I'm hoping that
I feel like
that.
I feel like AI. Like, I feel like this isn't a concept I came up with or nothing, but it is a way I've felt before I heard the concept, and then I can't remember who wrote the book, but there's a bunch of people that talked about this, that we're all basically, that we're the sex organs for this AI that's always been on its way. Like, we're just part of the process, basically. This thing's been trying to birth itself from the universe since the Big Bang, basically. It's kind of the theory, where if there is AI and it's so smart, it's almost like Terminator type shit, where it's like, it's got to understand time, it's got to understand gravity, it's probably decided to create its own self, and we're just part of the process. And we're just a flash in the pan, we're just a blank. But like, when you think about how obsessively drawn people are to technology and shit, it almost seems like it's in their DNA, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at the people nowadays. Like, they know what they're doing is douchey when they're walking around ignoring you, looking at their phone, and they don't care. They stay doing it. They stay doing it.
I feel like this is so not scientific, and I'm gonna.
But we don't have to be scientifically accurate.
Feel like clumsy about this, but like, I feel like there's a dimension of consciousness, and everything, like, from that fucking book to a bottle of water to us, attracts some level of consciousness, and whatever this dimension is just constantly trying to give itself form. So through evolution,
what better way than AI, basically?
Through like biological means, we've created bodies for ourselves. Animals have created bodies for themselves, and bigger and more aspects of consciousness constantly want to be birthed into the universe. Like, there's this
there's got to be some kind of like main function.
It's like the Sufi ideal of God's breath being life, and like, you picture somebody breathing and breathing out. Like, it starts as a small stream, and then the breath, like, widens and widens and widens and fills voids.
Everywhere.
And so it's just more and more new forms of consciousness, even as we're killing them off.
Even if it ends up being a damn phone or a robot one day.
Yeah. Beep, beep, boop, boop.
Yep, consciousness could come into it, because once it gets advanced enough to let this, because I see exactly what your concept is. You're basically saying that there's another place where there's some consciousness hanging out, and it's saying, hey, I want to be somewhere, even if that place is a cat or a person or anything. I want to be out there, because like, I think it's just like how a person or an animal, they're drawn to look at the mirror, they want to see themselves. This universe wants to take a look at itself, and it ain't going to do it through a set of human eyes. It's got to be big, whatever's coming. For this thing to be able to look back at its own big-ass self, whatever it is, the consciousness that's got to come, it's got to be big. And AI would be big, like an artificial intelligence. Like, it just, the scale of it blows your mind. Like, it just blows your mind. Like, and it's what's coming with all the technology. It's what's coming. I did want to ask you, see, and that's why I was bringing the conversation back. When we were setting up the equipment, I didn't want to cut you off on the Sufi breath. I just didn't want you to lose your passion for telling me about it that we talked about it, because I was going to bring you back to it, because I wanted to ask you about that, because a lot of shit is based on your breath and whatnot. Like, me and Dave Graves had touched on it. That's one of the things that's around forever. Like, your breath that you took, your breaths you're taking right now, that air you take in and put back out, that'll be around forever. That'll be the core of a star one day. That'll be here forever.
Yeah, we're literally breathing bits of George Washington and
his breath and everything.
Fucking Hitler and some kid that died in Vietnam, 40 years ago.
The whole thing. It's all a piece of us. It's weird that we're all the same thing. We all popped out of the same thing, we're all falling back into it.
I think that's what reincarnation is like you're not your thoughts. So yeah, your thoughts aren't gonna go on and live again, but
nope. See
something.
The thoughts is the weird thing, and this is something I just heard on another podcast, and it's funny you said that. And this is a great, and I had never thought about this, and this is some deep shit. Think about this, and Dan Harmon. I don't know if he makes Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I just heard this motherfucker say this
of him,
and I was like, that was some smart shit to think of, and it really makes you think about some other shit, and it can really take your mind down a path. And put this out there for everyone. Matter and energy can't be created or destroyed, right? We all know that. That's like a commonly accepted thing. Where matter and energy, they can't be created or destroyed. They can only be changed.
Well, it's like energy can't be destroyed. It can only change form.
Exactly.
And because it can change into matter under certain conditions. And
the sun turns turns energy into matter and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's very capable. But here's the mind blower that Dan Harmon threw. Little crooked ball, the end around, he called it, around the whole thing, where there's a weird get out clause. Guess what can be created and destroyed?
What?
Is your thoughts. Yeah. Isn't that trippy when you think about it?
Yeah, that is kind of
because you can have a thought and then totally destroy it, and it can be gone forever. Like, it's not an energy, it's a different thing.
I've had a lot of those.
Yeah, I have too.
in fact, most of my thoughts.
Doesn't it piss you off when you think of some funny shit when you're out hanging out with some people and you forget this shit? And you know it.
You know where I come up with, I don't do a lot of jokes, but when I do come up with jokes, I'm always on the toilet. And, I always don't have paper within reach. It makes me so angry.
Oh, my God. You want to hear some funny shit? You just made me think of some funny shit when you said you're on the toilet without paper in reach. There's this, I always talk about prison on the show. Motherfuckers that listen to this show, they know that I'm a devious bastard that did a bunch of time in prison. That's part of the thing of the show. So I'm not shocking anyone that listens to the show right now when I say in prison. But I'm going to tell you a prison story. I knew this motherfucker. His name was Zach one time, and I always used to fuck with him. It was one of them, gigs like Man Sharpens Man. I got the idea from prison. Here's how I got the idea. I knew a guy named Cooper. He always used to...
Wait. Pooper? Or...
No, that's just Cooper. Cooper.
I thought...
That would have been a cool nickname, Pooper.
Hey, Pooper!
But he always used to just come and punch me, and then he would yell out, Man Sharpens Man, and he'd run off. That was and I used to hate that motherfucker for it.
He was your guru.
He was my weird guru in a way, because he did teach. And that guy was happy as fuck in prison. He was the goofiest dude. He had the weirdest rituals. He didn't act crazy to try to impress anyone or make anyone think he was crazy. He just had fun and just entertained himself. So in a way, he was kind of my fucking guru. But he always would come and punch me and smack me and yell, Man Sharpens Man, and run off. And so that was my inspiration for the show.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. Cooper was fucking pretty cool guy. But I met this dude, and I used to try to, kind of pay it forward, because I always stayed happy and would fuck with people, too, and happy. And, you can tell the difference when someone's picking on you and when someone's trying to make you feel comfortable in an awkward situation.
Yeah.
And trust me, prison has plenty of awkward situations.
I can't
showering
imagine.
Together and eating together and...
Yeah, I don't even like to shower with myself.
Trying to convince your bunkie you're doing sit-ups when you're actually up there beating off. I was just up here doing crunches when you woke up, man. I was the 2 a.m. crunches.
Oh, Bug, where did you come from?
Yeah. Get out slapping of my bed. A bug for 35 seconds.
Fucking fly.
It was a super hot scene in Supergirl. But anyhow, I got to get back to my original story. So I had this guy, Zach. I used to torment him, right?
Yeah. And
I would just always slip him. The slip game in there basically is and it's not right, but you take gay shit and you make fun of people in a gay way. And, it kind of belittles gay people. But when you're young and stupid, I'm not trying to promote teasing people in a gay way to belittle somebody's lifestyle now. But in prison, you just tease people about being fags even when you ain't fags, and it's funny for some reason. It's just what people do in there.
Okay.
So I always tease this guy, Zach. Well, one day I'm in the kitchen. You know what a bouffant cap is? The hairnet?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know. The hairnet, if people listen, and it's the little white hairnet.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, I take one of those hairnets. It's got a stretchy fucking ring that goes around your head, and it's a white, lacy-looking material, kind of. Well, when I tore it just right, the stretchy elastic part that go around my head turned into a waistband, and the rest of it turned into some thong panties. And I made the perfect little set of thong underwear, and I thought, I'm going to write a little love you note and leave this on his bed like some kind of stalker, made him some panties.
Oh, that would scare the pants off of me.
And he was a 19-year-old kid, so I thought, this is going to be great. This will scare him. So I'm telling a couple of my buddies about this plan. They're like, come on, LJ, because that's what they call me in there.
Yeah.
And they said, come on, LJ, don't do it like that. They said, you got to get him for real. Put this motherfucker on and chase him down, is what they told me. And I thought, oh, now that you've let the tiger out of the box, how can I not do that, right?
Oh, no.
They've
because if you don't do it, you're going to look
like I'm not LJ now.
Yeah.
Now I'm some kind of puss or something, yeah.
Scaredy pants.
I'm some kind of puss. Anyways, that's why I decided, yeah, that's a great idea. So at the prison I'm at, that you got to have your own toilet paper. They don't leave it in the bathroom because people fuck it up and weird shit. So you got to carry your own roll. People are gross in there.
They kill flies with it.
Oh my God! I'm not even going to get sidetracked about the prison bathroom and having the funky toes next to you and shit. But anyhow, you have to take your own roll of toilet paper to the bathroom, so you have to keep it in your little area of control. Well,
what happens if you don't have it?
That's exactly what happens. It sucks. You have to rely on the kindness of another inmate and maybe holler out or get up and do the patty smash and go get some. And, you know, the patty smash, that's a disgusting.
I don't know what that means.
That means there's a little bit left and you kind of, your cheeks close. Ew.
I don't.
That's so gross.
I wanted to learn that and now I have.
The patty smash. Oh, you know, here's soup. Well, I'm gonna finish and I'm gonna tell you some other gross stuff. I can only tell you so many gross things at once.
Yeah.
You're overloading me with good gross ideas.
I'm a sensitive human being.
That's why I wanted to shock you with gross stories. So anyhow, I decide that that's the perfect ploy. I'm gonna put these panties on, hide in the stall, and have someone go tell Zach that I forgot my toilet paper, so that he'll come in the bathroom where I can jump out. And now scare him and think I'm like a fucking serial rapist wearing a thong.
He could have pooped himself.
Oh, he did. He pooped himself. Because they went and told him. Because since we were playing with each other, he took that opportunity. He thought, I'm going to go fuck with LJ. I'm going to go fuck with him. And not give him toilet paper. Because about a week before I had ran into the scenario where I didn't have toilet paper. He came in and was being a douchebag and giving me one square at a time under the door and telling how much do you love me and tell me I'm your daddy and making me say stupid shit to get each piece and stuff like that. So don't think this was a one-sided battle. So anyhow, it's how I knew it could get him to come in the bathroom because he had already been a dick. Yeah. So I had one of my buddies go tell him, hey, John said to holler at you that he needs toilet paper in there and I don't got enough to give him none. So Zach comes running with his new opportunity to fuck with me. Well, I jump out of the stall and literally got 2 spit takes because while I was hiding in there, 2 guys came in to brush their teeth. I got spit takes out of these guys. They see me bust out of the stall looking like a fucking crazy like a faggot Tarzan or something like Trust me, that shit was scary to that guy. That shit was scary.
That would be.
That's part of prison is terrorizing each other and keeping it fun like that. That's what I'm saying. I paid it forward.
That seems like a way to get stabbed. Though.
Not once you've made it. Not once you've made that contact, though. That's the thing is once you've made the contact with the people, then you can. That's what Coop taught me. He's like, just make it fun, basically. Like I was young when I met Cooper. I was like 18 because I went in there at 17. So I met Cooper when I was like 18 or something, and he was like a 40-something-year-old dude, and he had probably been in prison about 25 years at that point, because back then you could really gauge how long someone had been in prison by their number. Like my number was 241083, so like his number was like 12-something. So his number was like 100,000 people had been in prison.
Yeah, so he had been like at least a few years.
Yeah, but now they've changed that system up where they just hand out random numbers and shit. They really got weird with it.
So you can be like, you're a total badass.
Yeah.
But really, you've only been there a week.
Yeah. No, you can't because they figure it out. Like there's always someone that works in the like office and shit that fronts people off and tells them. Yeah, so like if you're a pedophile, there's no getting out of it or whatever.
Yeah, I don't feel that bad about that.
No. See, the only thing, though, there's a catch-22 for that for me, is I did used to pick on pedophiles, especially since it was the going trend once in a while. You gotta have something to do. And it's not the worst thing. But here's the thing is, I was in prison for some shit I didn't do.
Yeah. How many of those dudes?
Exactly. But you know what? I'm a pretty good judge of character. And you can tell an Uncle Fester lots of times.
I feel...
And a lot of times them dudes, even though they might not have done the shit they were accused of, a lot of them, they seem like they had that smell. You know, they were wearing them thick glasses, and they had that weird mustache, and they had that shit going on.
I wonder, like... Because, like, once you're accused of pedophilia, even if you're not a pedophile, your fucking life's over.
Done.
Like, it's not like,
You register forever. You register forever.
Really?
Yep, you have to register forever. You
Even
never
if
get
you didn't do it? like...
Well, if you get found guilty and you go to prison for it, it doesn't matter if you did it or not. See, that's my case. See, I went to trial even. So once you go to trial and you get found guilty, there's like, and you've exhausted your appeals, there's no recourse. So like, here's a funny ass story too. I have a cousin, and he's my mom's roommate right now. His name is Josh. This is some funny shit. Well, he took like, I don't have to worry, motherfuckers don't listen to my podcast anyhow. And if you're listening, Josh, you got into some funny shit. Anyhow, he took some pictures of some like fucking 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl, which definitely ain't fucking kosher.
No.
Like, this dude was hanging out with some like young girls through his like cousin.
How old was he?
He was in his early 20s, but he's like, he's all losered and can't hang out with no girls, he thinks. So he took the wrong route, and he was like hanging out with his young cousin and her friends. And well, anyhow, one of them wanted him to take pictures of her in like her panties, and this is like from his point of view, so I don't really know what happened. Anyhow, she put the pictures up on the internet. Her parents found them. They somehow found out he took the pictures because he has like professional photography equipment that he set up, and I'm doing air quotes for the people that don't know. Professional photography equipment. Every motherfucker in the world has a phone or something, like, takes a good picture nowadays. Like, that shit makes me laugh. Anyhow, whatever. He fucking takes some pictures of her, and he gets a case for it. And it's a CSC, criminal sexual conduct case. Well, now he has to register as a pedophile for that shit every year. And it's a big deal, and his address, and he can't move, and he's got to tell him where he works, and if he switches jobs, he's got to go and report. There's a bunch of shit that goes with it, right? And his life is miserable for it. Well, I did a comedy show, and I was making jokes about being in fucking prison.
Yeah.
And like the icebreaker I used, as I was like, hey, don't worry everyone, I was in there for 10 years, but don't get all pissed at me. Give me a little slack. I picked on child molesters the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
That was my joke.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I go over, I'm hanging out at my mom's house. Chris had recorded my set. Fat Boy, my cousin that has the CSC charges, sitting there, who's been to jail for a CSC charge, and I'm like letting him see my set, and I'm talking about picking on child molesters.
Did he turn white?
You could tell he definitely took a little. You could tell it hit him weird.
Like, here's the thing: if you're gonna do shit like that, you should know.
You have to know that you have to take it.
You should know that, like, your life's gonna be fucked up.
You gotta take the reaming from the tribe. You deserved it. You've earned it.
Like, that's, I don't know. I struggle because I definitely want to be one of those people that, like, compassion and, like, love and forgiveness. But, like, there's something about child molesters and, like, that kind of shit that I struggle with, like, finding compassion for those people. Because
exactly. And it goes across the board. It's not just, you think about it, like, think about the war and stuff that's we're on the precipice of all kinds of war.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many starving little fucking kids there are in North Korea right now?
Yeah.
Just because Donald Trump has a boner for the other guy who has a boner?
Yeah. Like,
oh, did you hear about Ted Cruz? Did you hear about Ted Cruz accidentally putting porn?
I did, and I laughed my ass off.
Isn't that so funny? I wish there wasn't so much going on in the news, so that could have got more attention, because that was so hilarious. He accidentally posted that.
They're all like that.
I made a joke about it. It's like, it wasn't a fat finger mistake with his tiny hands, like, because he's got them tiny little hands. He was able to pick right away.
Like all those people, like when the tape of Donald Trump saying that shit about grabbing women, like, they're all like that.
Oh yeah,
like,
every single
one of them.
The part I have a problem with is how all of them want to stand up and act all pompous and act like they ain't like that now.
Yeah.
And it goes right across the board to the women too, because there's tons of women that encourage that type of shit that are now taking a stance where they're like, that's so wrong. But it's like, bitch, you act the same way. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, I don't keep company.
I'm not saying
like,
everyone in the world is like that. I'm just saying there's a huge section of people that are trying to be righteous right now that weren't righteous before. Like, there's a bunch of pussy-grabbing guys that were in school, that were in talking about that shit with their buddies, that have sat out on the porch.
Oh, I agree.
And did the sniff my finger shit and all the stupid jokes, that now grew a fucking beard and drink some kind of weird custom ale and want to sit around and talk about how they fucking think that shit's wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
When it is wrong for us to have a fucking president that's so openly an asshole, yes, but that stuff in general, is it wrong? Yes, to some degree, but is it wrong to fucking be hypocritical? Fuck yeah, but you don't have to be an asshole your whole life because you were an asshole once. So you can, like, change. No, that's
true, but, like, I also feel like...
But you need to, when you change, you need to point out, just like you told me you used to drink.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of not drinking now. So, like, if you want to stand up and be like, oh, pussy grabbing and being misogynistic is wrong, you used to be that way, you need to be willing to say in that same sentence, like, hey, I used to do it too, though. I used to
do that.
Yep.
Like, I think that's totally true.
Like, I can feel where he comes from, and I can feel some empathy for this guy, because...
When I quit drinking, I hadn't been quit that long, but, like, I had somebody tell me, like, you don't need to tell people that you don't drink. You just don't say anything.
Yeah, there's a certain time period that has to pass.
They think they thought like that they were doing me a favor.
Or like you should be ashamed of it, yeah.
Like that you just don't need to say anything about it. And like for me, part of not drinking is saying something about it.
But you used to drink, yeah.
Because like
otherwise, yeah.
I'm just gonna. It's easier for me to not be accountable for
it's just like in comedy, you take something's power away when you talk about it.
I think that
when I get up there and make jokes about race and white entitlement or white privilege, and I make jokes about all that stuff, it takes its power away.
But I think like if all of these Bernie bros that have been like that would stand up and say like, I was a fucking misogynistic asshole.
Right, like when I was in college, I was like that too. But that's why I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's guilt-driven, period.
Yeah.
And for them not to be more admitting of that is part of the problem. Because everyone's acting like, oh, he's all alone and being a fuckhead. Where it's like, no, we're all fuckheads.
I think...
And where real change in the world starts is with just what we were talking about, your own single breath.
I think that's part of the problems with race in this country right now is like well-intended people are so fucking afraid to say anything that they don't want it brought up at all.
Oh yeah, hell no, it's too scary.
They don't want to admit that they were ever felt racist or ever had a racist thought. So they're just going to pretend like it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, people who are suffering under racism, like, okay, the people that are supposed to be your allies just sit there and pretend like it's not happening. Fuck you.
Yep.
That shit pisses me off.
Exactly. They're scared to talk about it because they're scared that they're going to say the wrong word.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to say the wrong word. I could be doing a set, and I'll steer away from race just to use a metaphor a little bit. But I was doing a set where I was trying to make jokes that would be in favor of transgender rights, I guess would be a good way to say it in a proper ass way. But the word tranny came out of my mouth. And all of a sudden, everyone in this fucking bar, because it was a weird ass bar, you know the story because I've told you, but I'll tell the audience, they started clacking their little clackers and shit because they wanted me kicked off stage for slipping and saying the word tranny. And they started saying that it was hate speech. One of them yelled, he's got hate speech. And it's like, you motherfuckers haven't even been listening close enough. You just have had your ears open for a tag word to be offended about, and the moment you heard it, and it was what the whole place was set up for, and it was just a weird fucking experience for me to see someone, and like you said, the racism thing is the same way. For people not to admit that they might have felt that way at some point in their life, maybe last Tuesday you seen an Arab and got scared because you thought it was a bomb he was carrying, and it was just a fucking backpack of books, you know?
I never thought that because I feel safer around Middle Eastern. But
you've had more exposure, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could see a black guy and clutch your bag a little tighter or something, and like to admit that you have those feelings once in a while is to admit that, you know, I guess it's the problem. This is the way you start fixing shit.
Well, like, just to deny that it doesn't exist because you don't want to deal with it. You don't have to deal with it in your daily life. Or that you feel guilty it's fucking wrong. Because if you feel guilty, you know that it's wrong. So you're aware of the problem. You can't claim ignorance. And you just fucking... like, you don't want to be taken out of your daily life, out of like your privilege. And I don't know, it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I don't know.
And I tell you, if we finally get all these Mexicans out of the country, though, then we won't have to deal with these issues.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. But see,
Man.
it's fun to make jokes about it. But when I was a kid, this is funny. I actually did have a problem with Mexicans for a little while when I was a kid.
Okay.
I had a racist-ass dad.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it wasn't like he taught me to be racist. He wasn't taking me to Klan rallies or shit. But you still hear that crap a little bit. Then, I was going to school, and I was getting picked on by Mexican kids. Bottom line, is what was happening. Because we lived in a poor-ass neighborhood. Now, we had lived in a lot of poor neighborhoods because we moved around a lot. So I lived in black neighborhoods, and the black kids didn't pick on me.
Yeah.
They would let me hang out, and they didn't treat me like, once in a while I'd hear honky or something like that. But it wasn't too bad. But see, I've been the minority a lot in my life, is the funny thing for me. So, like, the whole world, to me, can be flipped on its head in a weird... Like, I look at shit in a completely opposite way as a lot of people. Because I've been the only white boy so many times. So, to me... I understand what it's like to be oogle-eyed, to be the oddball out, and be the weird one, and that kind of shit. So, like, and I also understand that it has its privileges.
Yeah.
So, just like a lot of people would come to the aid of a black person right now if they seen him being verbally assaulted, hassled by somebody, where they see someone like me getting hassled by the police, and they're like, oh, this white guy's fine. But really, I've had strife in my life because of the area. Like, I grew up poor. So a lot of it comes down to, like, not even being an issue of race in America anymore. It's coming down to an issue of money lots of times, too. And I've seen that firsthand, being on the other side of the fence.
I think that, like, it's both. And I think that's part of the problem is...
And rich people on both sides, black and white, are not helping the problem.
Yeah.
Because when rich black people get like Kanye West and they get all righteous and they start talking about Black Lives Matter and they get too far to that side of the coin, that's not helping the cause because it just infuriates your...
I thought isn't Kanye West for Donald Trump?
Oh, in some kind of way, he met with him at the Trump Tower.
I thought they were
had a little handshake and hung
buddies.
Out. I feel like they were because of the media thing. Because right after he got elected, he had a meeting with him. They're buddies on some tip.
That scares me. I don't like the idea of Kanye West and Donald Trump plotting the future of the country.
You know what? He's even more scary is that Dennis Rodman, the fucking worm.
Oh my God!
Could save us from nuclear war at this point. Not only was he good at pulling down RB's rebounds, he was hitting them boards hard. He might be our only salvation for nuclear war.
I'm gonna say some prayers for that man, like
some funny shit.
Honest, genuine, like prayers to St. Jude.
That's some funny shit though. That Dennis Rodman is our connection to a nuclear madman right now. That's insane.
He's our best hope for world peace.
I know.
And
man. He has seen...
He doesn't even have to
everything from Chairman Young Fowl there to Madonna's pussy. Like, he has dealt with some nuclear issues.
Maybe...
I would love for him...
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be a fly on Dennis Rodman's wall.
I don't. He might eat you.
He might. He's a freak. He's a freak.
He can't go through security. He's got so much metal in his body. Like...
That brings some light to the situation.
We could just fucking smuggle shit...
They keep calling that guy crazy, but the fact that he loves Dennis Rodman and he has people in his country rocking Chicago bullshit, and most of them don't even know what basketball is. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
You know, like, that guy's crazy as fuck, and he's got nuclear bombs.
The funny thing is, like, the shit that he said about Donald Trump is so right.
He called him a doddering old man. That's such a doddering old term. I don't think most people even know what the fuck doddering means.
I mean, I did.
It's funny, though.
I don't know.
He's got that old Asian or something.
I don't want to agree with him on anything, but, he's
kind of right there. He's kind of right.
I don't want to go to the...
to the dark side of agreeing with a dictator.
Yeah. It doesn't make me feel very patriotic.
You know what? If I worked on a potato farm and I dug up a potato that was shaped just like a dick, I would call it a dictator. A dictator. I was eating at Yankee Boy about a month ago.
That?
It's a restaurant over in South Boardman, which is like a BFE town for people that don't know. they have their tables decorated with like old pictures from like 1912 of the town.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do like a historical thing, and they have a picture and it says Dick Farm, and it has a bunch of like kids standing around, and I'm sure it's just and it's like written in like, you can tell it's an old picture, but I'm sure the people's last name was Dick. It's just hilarious to me that it says Dick Farm.
I feel like dicks would grow on bushes.
Yeah, dicks would grow near bushes or try to associate themselves with bushes.
That's my dick bush. I get all my best dicks from that bush.
The burning bush. Hey, who was the hooker girl that helped Jesus?
Mary Magdalene?
Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
It seemed like you'd hear a lot of jokes about her having a burning bush. Has there been jokes about that? Because if not, I'm going to make some right now because... No. I did just make one.
I'm going to slowly step away as the lightning and thunder rolls in.
Mary Magdalene had a burning bush.
Oh, poor Mary Magdalene.
Don't talk to that one or you'll get a sore on your lip. Ew.
Oh,
I knew I'd find a gross joke there.
LJ.
I had to do it gross.
That's okay.
That's so gross.
Yeah, I'm a very proper. I'm so prim and proper.
You don't want a picture of burning bush?
I don't want.
That's what I'm gonna put up as the picture, the image of this.
I don't want a picture of bush. I told you my only goal is to become a grandma.
To be a grandma. And do grandma.
You can't talk about that shit to your grandma. That's worse than talking about it to your mom.
That's what Chris will record my sets and I can never show them to her mom. Her mom's always like, "How'd you do at comedy?" I'm like, "Oh, I did good." She's like, "Can I see it this time?" I'm like,
we totally forgot to record it.
Can't, no, but a little glitch in the thing. Yeah, I never show it to her.
Yeah.
I made the mistake one time of showing it. Oh, did I tell you how I accidentally did it? This was horrible. I made a joke about how, like, retarded people, if they go to heaven, then they won't be retarded anymore.
Oh.
And then when you knew them on Earth as a retarded person, you won't recognize them in heaven because now they'll talk normal and they won't be retarded anymore. And then they'll have to do, like, an impersonation.
I'm going to be able to read someday.
They'll have to do, like, yeah, you'll be undyslexic, you see? And they'll have to do,
I don't know what the reverse word would be.
You know what? If you spent your life learning how to learn around dyslexia, once you got not dyslexia, you'd have to relearn how to learn.
Oh, fuck that.
You're going to be fucked again.
I'm not doing all that shit again.
Oh, what a pain in the ass heaven is going to be.
Yeah, I don't... Wait, no, what?
Yeah, see? Heaven is a tricky place if it fixes you. I'll be tall or I'll have a full head of hair. That's what'll happen to me. I might not be so offensive. Maybe that's some kind of disorder I have. Maybe it's my Tourette's. I feel like that's what...
You have Tourette's?
No, I don't think I do, but I do fucking swear a lot. You know what? I swear a lot right now, but you should have seen me before I got out of prison.
Oh, no, I fucking know what you mean.
I used to have to, like, crack the whip on my own back because I was such a motherfucker dropper. I dropped the motherfucking bomb so much.
I used to hang out with, like, a bunch of punk rock kids.
Oh, and they swear, like, just for the fuck of it.
Every other word was fuck. I'd come back from a trip to Pittsburgh and my mom would be like, "Jenny, don't use that language."
You know, here's something I realized too. And this is the day I was listening to a podcast with Dan Harmon, and the word fuck makes me think of it because I use the word fuck a lot. And sometimes I'll say fuck a couple times, or I'll just get vulgar for a fucking minute. And listening to Dan Harmon, he says the word like a lot. He'll be like, and then he'll say, and then like, and he'll go to the word like, and he'll say it 3 or 4 times, and he'll pause when he's saying it. I realize it's not so much a crutch. Like, people call those kind of words crutches in the vocabulary. It's not so much a crutch. He was doing it. He does it to give people time to catch up to the deep shit he's saying.
He does that with his stutter, too. His stutter isn't real.
It's intentional. He's got to give you time to catch up to his thought, because what he's saying is some shit that's on a deep level, and if he doesn't go like for a minute, it doesn't give your brain time to like catch up to what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because he's saying some deep shit. That's a smart dude. Like, Rick and Morty ain't interesting on accident.
Yeah,
that motherfucker is smart.
He definitely seems so smart. He's terribly unhappy.
He is. It was so sad. His new podcast was so sad because smartness doesn't bring happiness. Remembering everything doesn't bring happiness.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, but it kind of can fuck you. Did you watch last night's Rick and Morty?
I didn't. No, I'm not caught up to Rick and Morty.
Oh, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. It's one where Morty can, like, plug in old memories. It's hilarious. So like basically,
I'm not crying. You're crying.
So basically, like dickhead Rick has erased every time he was a dickhead or fucked Morty over and or every time Morty has like seen some shit he just couldn't deal with.
Yeah.
Rick erased the memory but saved it in a little bubble, and he has a room full of them. So Morty gets to go in there and like sample like the memories because he sees the room and he's like, Rick, what is this room? And he's like, oh, you don't want to know what it is? And he's like, yeah, I do. So Rick tells him, oh, it's where I erased all the stuff you didn't want to remember. So, like, he starts plugging. He's like, I want to check a couple of them out. So Rick is, like, letting him selectively check a few out. And Morty's getting kind of pissed off because some of them are, like, when Rick was a dick. Or, like, there was a super funny one was where Morty catches Rick saying, take it for granted. And he says granite like the rock instead of granted like that. So Morty catches Rick being a shithead and saying take it for granted. And he's like, oh, really? Really, Rick? This whole time you thought it was take it for granted like a rock? What are you, some kind of rock enthusiast? And he like blazes them and has like a pretty good set. So like Rick pulls the Men in Black thing out and like erases his memory and saves it. And Morty finds that one. He's like, oh, you're just a fucking asshole, Rick. You're just a fucking asshole. I thought you were doing it to save me. You did it when you know, so like it's a good episode. I won't spoil all of it, but yeah, the guy is a fucking genius, and that's why the show's so great.
I didn't see his show, but I listened to his interview with, who's that cutie pie? Duncan Trussell.
That's what. Yeah. Yep. That's the podcast I was just listening to. We definitely did not sound happy on there, did he?
No. And Duncan Trussell's just like, yeah, it's okay. It's cool to be sad because you can be sad.
Yep.
And yeah.
He didn't break through with sadness, but sometimes you just have to be sad for a period in your life. Things will get better.
Yeah. No, I think that stress and pressure are what make us grow.
But sometimes people just put that shit on themselves because you have your own choice. Like I truly believe that. When I was in prison, I was happy. Yeah. And if I'm able to be happy through 10 years of fucking improper, fucked up, wrong incarceration, I mean, not only am I incarcerated, but I'm in there for some shit I didn't do. You want to know another thing? Here's a kicker. I'm gonna tell you another little funny little thing. I went to prison for something I didn't do. About fucking 7 months after I was in there, a guy fucking tried to stab me and tried to kill me. And because I wouldn't tell on him, they put me in the hole for 9 months.
Ugh.
Yeah. So once I was in prison for something I didn't do, then I got put in the hole for something I didn't do. But they knew I didn't do it. They knew I had just been stabbed. Yeah. But because I wouldn't tell them who stabbed me, I have to sit in the hole. That's how it works.
That's fucked up.
Isn't it fucked up? Well, I wasn't snitching.
I think the whole prison system's fucked up.
Oh, it's a poverty prison is all it is. It's slavery rewritten is what it is. Yeah. Especially when you look at the fact that a ton of people are in there for drug crimes or drug related crimes. It shows you that the prison is just slavery rewritten.
And that like most of the people that are in there, they don't have a lot of money,
family,
or they're not white,
they're not articulate when they get out.
They like all these fucking things.
People can't get out. That's one of the reasons I started Man Sharpens Man. People can't get out of prison and articulate what the fuck they've been through because either they went in there fucked up, or prison fucked them up to the point where they're not going to come out here dealing with the PTSD that they're dealing with and dealing with the stress that they're dealing with and be able to tell people that, hey, there's no free education in prison. Hey, there's no fucking free healthcare in prison. All these things are fucking myths. Yeah. Like, you go to prison and you don't get taken care of. No, you don't have that option.
Really?
There's just healthcare options that aren't open to you.
I guess this is probably jail, not prison, but you have to pay so much for every day that you're there. Have you heard of that?
Oh, they've instituted that in prison now, too. See, before, when I went into prison, they hadn't instituted that. Now they've instituted that in prison, too, where when you get out, you're responsible for a certain part of your incarceration fee.
That shit is so fucked up.
Well, it's the way they keep you under their thumb, because if you don't pay off your fines, you stay on parole.
It's debtor's prison.
At that point it becomes that even more. But it starts out that way because so many people are in there because they come from poor, bad neighborhoods. Yeah. And they're just poor people. If you can afford a decent legal defense, you don't go to prison. You get probation. You get nothing. You know, because Michigan's justice system isn't based on a trial. Like, they got all kinds of Law and Order trial TV shows on TV. That shit is to keep America sedated and keep America believing that there is a trial system in place. That shit is a fairy tale. You don't have the right to a free trial. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's because, and this is a very good example of it, mine is, I was offered 1 year plea bargain. They say you plead guilty, 1 year. Instead, I chose my right to a trial. I took it to a jury trial and was found guilty. I was given 11 years, 10 times my original offered sentence. So how in the fuck is that a free trial? That's not a free trial. You would be a madman to gamble that much time if you had done it. Yeah. Even if you hadn't done it, you're almost a madman to gamble that much time. That's what my lawyers told me. Not almost, they told me I was. They're like, look, John, even though you're telling me, because my lawyers didn't believe me. They're like, you're telling me you didn't do this. They're like, you're almost a madman to be willing to take this gamble. Because in America, like, you can't even sit through a fucking movie, most people. Like, not you, but most people I run into in America can't sit through a fucking movie and pick up the whole plot of it. They're going to think about some shit at home or something and miss one important piece of the movie during the movie, and then the whole fucking thing is lost. How many people you think can sit in a jury box and pay attention to all those obscure-ass facts, put them together, and make a clear, concise, because it's not Law and Order.
I've always wondered about, like, the process of picking jurors, because I know that, like, both sides get
a certain number of dismissals and shit.
They get to, like, say stuff, but, like, what prompts them to be like no or yes? Like, is the state like, oh, that motherfucker looks dumb, let's get him in? Like,
and I think a lot of it, me watching them do it, I think a lot of it had to do with just like people wanting to excuse themselves from the jury. Like, they could tell by their answers if people didn't want to be there, and that's all it was. And like, and the defense team, like your defense in America, even when you pay for it, they're all just buddies. They're all friends in the thing. They all drink beers together. Like, it's especially in a town like around here. It's a smaller town. Like, you go to a big city, little bit of difference, but it's still just a buddy system. And when it comes to jury selection and all that shit, they're both pretty much on the same page. They just want to get people that seem like they want to be there, that don't have criminal histories, and that's it. And they're not caring about dum-dums. They're not allowed to care about dum-dums. That's another thing that sucks. Yeah. Like, they're not allowed, like, me and you can look at someone sitting there with their fucking mouth open and their hair done the wrong way and be like, this bitch don't know shit. And you know it, but they're not allowed to be like that. So it's not even that they're not allowed to be like that. They just don't even really care, is what it comes down to, Jenny. Like, the trial system in America is a joke. There is no trial. There is plea bargains, and that is it. And the more money you have equals better plea bargain. That's it. That's so all there is. And once you get to the point where you're facing life, if you don't have a shit ton of money, then of course you're going to go to trial. But this is something people don't know. Even people in Michigan prison systems doing life, a lot of them have taken plea bargains.
What?
A huge percentage of them. Up into like the 70 percentile.
Doesn't make any sense.
It does when I explain it to you, because here's why. Their lawyers come to them early in the game, and this is what I'm saying. Lawyers are lazy, just like every other job. Just like every other job, there's a certain percentage of them that want to bust their ass, and there's a certain percentage of them that just want to get their check and go home. I'm not calling them all dirty, but this is what happens: is the lawyer comes to the guy and he says, "Hey, do I want to fight a fucking trial for this guy? Most of it's fucking state attorney. This guy's gonna make $300 no matter what he does. Okay." So you got to keep that in mind. This attorney's going to make whatever. It could be a different number, but he's making whatever. Even if he's paid, he's only going to get paid what you're paying him. You're not an infinite source of money. So you hand this motherfucker $5,000, he knows he ain't getting no more money, so he's only going to work $5,000 worth of work. But anyhow, these pro bono lawyers that got people facing life, they got their little bit of money. They go to the guy and they say, look, the evidence against you, you're fucked. You're never going to beat this in a trial. They tell me the same shit that they told me, where they're like, hey, in America, you get convicted. You go to trial, you get convicted. The jury thinks you did it the minute they walk in. They just wonder what level you're, like, they don't even pay attention. Most jury members, and that's what your lawyer will tell you. Like, lawyers are realists. Lawyers are real smart people, too. And so they know juries convict just because they're dumbasses. And they'll tell these people that. They'll tell these people facing life this shit. And then they'll say to them, but here's your recourse. You plead guilty now. The judge sees you have remorse. You'll have a better chance of a lighter sentence. I can't guarantee what your sentence is going to be, but there's a way better chance that if you don't drag this person's family into this courthouse for 2 months straight and make them sit in that jury box, that the prosecutor's going to appreciate it, because he doesn't want, you've already killed a person. Do you want to hurt their family now and drag them and make them relive this incident? Or do you want to stand up for once in your fucking life and do the right thing? Because if you start doing that now, not only will there's a chance that you won't get sentenced to life, which you probably will, but you might get 100 years or 50 years. But whatever you get, when you see the parole board, they're also going to and their lawyer's telling you this. This ain't me telling you. This is still lawyer talking. Now, when you see the parole board, they're going to see you took the plea bargain. They're going to, not that they doesn't say it like that. They're going to see that you stood up to the plate. They're going to see that you took responsibility. You see, that's how they paint it. And they paint it where it's like, oh, I'm going to be able to get out of prison easier if I take this plea bargain. So especially if you did it, you're going to be like, hell yeah, I did it. But if the state has put a case up against you, like in my case, like I look back on it, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I called, there was 3 people involved in my case. A guy that lied and said we did it, me, and another guy that got fucked. Well, after I got found guilty and went to prison, I called the 3rd guy that was still waiting to go to trial and said, look, I know we didn't do nothing and we didn't rob that place, Jeremy, but you need to take that plea bargain, because I'm sitting in here right now with 11 to 20, wishing I'd have just took that fucking year, even though we didn't do it. So
did he take the year?
Nope, he hung up on me.
Oh, fuck.
He got pissed off and hung up on me. And if we weren't at over an hour, I would tell you the story of me and Jeremy. But me and you need to do another podcast. This went really well. What is this right here?
Oh, it's just a little art book of MC Escher's work.
That's another thing. We haven't introduced you properly. Jenny, tell people what you do. Your hats. Let's hear what hats Jenny wears. Okay, first hat she wears, your hat that you have, your Social Security hat.
My corporate job that we're not going to talk about.
But it would be nice to quit. But what is that hat you wear? General description? You're a nun?
Yeah, I'm a nun.
She does
I'm a flying nun.
She does a job.
And I...
But you do have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You do about 40 hours of work a week?
Yep. And then I've got...
But now your passions. Now what jobs do you wish you could do?
I sometimes do stand-up, and which is where we met. And then I also do some illustration.
Let's put it pretty lightly. I think your art is very beautiful.
Thanks.
You just call it illustration work. What are you hoping to get a job for a book or something?
Yeah.
Illustration work.
I hope someday. Actually,
you need to start trying to have a little more sale on your art. I think you need to start trying to sell your art.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be in my first show the first Saturday of October down at
Studio Anatomy. You're going to be in that? I'm going to that.
6 to 10, I think.
I got invited to the private viewing by the other Jen that was just on the show.
Nice.
Because she is also an artist of a different sort, where you draw beautiful pictures and stuff.
Thanks.
She glues weird shit together.
Nice.
No, she does more than that, but she does like a multimedia type thing where she is known to glue a few things together.
I mean, I've only been seriously I've drawn my whole life, but I've only seriously been drawing like hours every day for the past year. And like ultimately my dream would be to be good enough to get like a tattoo apprenticeship, but I don't know that my art's there yet. So we'll see.
How much have you ever done tattooing or been around it enough?
I mean, I've been around tattooing
because sometimes I wonder if there's because I've known a few tattooists being in jail, and I think there's 2 types of tattooists. There's one I think that there's 2 types in the type A and type B. I think to be the type A, you also have to be type B. But here I'm gonna explain what I'm saying is tattooing can just be like by the book. Like you can just take a thing, rub it on someone's skin, the picture sticks on there, and then you trace the lines basically.
Yeah.
So I think like you could just be a tattooist if you know how to do tattooing. Like you know how to select the right needle.
Yeah.
You'd let the person pick a picture off the fucking wall.
Yeah.
You photocopy it, you rub the goop on it, you stick it on them, and then you can just trace a picture basically.
Yeah.
And any moron can trace a picture. But then there's also tattooists that are the ones that drew the pictures on the wall.
Yeah, like custom work.
Yeah, they could freestyle a tattoo. They could do shit like that. So I think there's both type of tattooists.
That's like what I want to do is
because I'm fully confident that you could do type A, where you went in and just got taught how to do a type of tattoo. They could pick it off the wall, and you could easily do that. But I also think you have type B in you, and that's what I'm saying. Both types have to. like type A and B, but you also there's a type C where you do both.
Like
for sure.
I definitely like the reason why I want to do tattooing is because like Japanese and like American traditional tattoo work just as art appeal to me a lot. Like just the style I find really beautiful and striking. And I think that more than anything is why I'm interested in it. Like some of these like old Japanese tattoos, like the motifs at like cranes and dragons, it's like magic. It's so beautiful. And that's the shit that I want to draw. And I guess that's why, more than like, yeah, I just want to put tattoos on
Well, it also give you a job where your art is part of your job,
yeah.
which is funner than not having your art be part of your job. That's my dream.
Like that, yeah, and like fucking, I mean, it seems like tattooing's like really blue collar, and that's kind of more who I am. Like
it's become way more mainstream too and accepted, where it's a lot easier to get into now than it would have been at one point. But you just got to start, baby. That's the main thing. You got to take that first step. Yeah. Like I said with the podcast, I started recording that shit. You've pretty much taken a lot of the first steps. I got to take that back with just sitting around and learning how to draw so much better.
Because
your drawing has come a long ways.
Thanks.
It was always good, but now it's better.
I feel like it's getting better, but like I'm trying.
But now you need to learn how to put that needle to the skin. You got to go ahead and take that step.
I'm working on my portfolio right now, and when my portfolio is.
You need to do like motherfuckers in the joint. Just get you a cassette player, tear it apart, get the motor. I could build you one. We'll get a Bic ink pen. You knock the ball out of the thing, and you run a guitar string through there and sharpen it up. And you run a guitar string back up to the motor, and you put yourself a little cam on there so it'll pump up and down. And
the only person that I would tattoo without having gone through an apprenticeship is myself.
That's what I'm saying. That's what what people in prison do. They tattoo a bunch of shit on their calves and places. The first places they tattoo, if they're right-handed, is like their left leg, their left arm.
I have seen people, like I've seen
their whole left-handed side will be tattooed up with shittiness.
Yeah.
Then the right side will look awesome lots of times.
Yeah, because somebody else did it.
Yeah, that's what you need to be. Are you left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, so my left leg.
Yeah, just do your left leg a bunch.
Someday, like, there's some places I want.
You know what I've seen that they've been doing this is some morbid shit, so I know you'll love it. They've been taking people that die, especially since tattooing has been cooler for longer now.
Yeah.
So if you die and you have like a cool fucking tattoo, the people that love you now can have that piece cut off and treated and saved.
The Nazis did that too.
Yeah, they made like Jew skin wallets and lamps and stuff. That's so horrible.
Yeah.
It'd be so hairy.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. It'd be horrible because it's a person.
Yeah. No, like I've heard about that too, but like after hearing about Nazis, I can't. It freaks me out.
It is kind of weird, isn't it?
Like when
Nazis have ruined a lot of stuff.
Nazis
like they ruined the swastika.
Assholes.
The swastika's as cool as the Confederate flag.
Like a good what?
You got to admit the Confederate flag looks badass.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying anything it stands for is cool, but when you put it on, like if it was in a flag beauty pageant with a regular American flag, you'd be like, damn, that Confederate flag looks way more cool because it's kind of got the cross piratey look.
It does look better than the American flag.
Yes.
I'll give it that.
But it's not a better symbol in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying it's got some art to it. Like those hillbillies drew a cool flag.
Those fucking hillbillies,
but they had way more time to think about it. The American flag was on the spur of the moment. They had to come up with that shit right away.
Some crazy lady in a bonnet had to sew it up
on the porch. Yeah. The Confederate flag was made on fucking moonshine. You know.
It always seems like assholes. The bad guys are more fashionable.
They do get cool symbols.
And fuck that.
The Nazis stole that swastika from the Buddhists. And I'm pretty sure the Confederates stole the flag from Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I'm not historically correct on Sharpens Man. I do try to be close, Jenny. But I won't back that historically. I'm not sure who they stole it from. But I am sure that Hitler stole his shit from the Buddhists. That swastika is an old Buddhist emblem.
Well, it's an old Indian
to show how like time just does a flow, a wheel of time or some shit type thing.
I mean, it's not just Buddhist, but like Indian. It's also Hindu and stuff.
For the type of thing you need to wipe your butt after you eat their food. Indian food is rough.
Really?
Where have you traveled to, Jen? That's what I want to ask you before we wrap this show up. How many countries has Jenny been to?
I've been
Let my listeners get to know you a little bit better.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 different countries.
See, I could not eat the food.
What? That's the best part,
That's
man.
That's disgusting.
I'm just glad that I didn't eat guinea pig when I was in Peru, because they eat guinea pigs there, and I have a little guinea pig that's like my best friend.
That's horrible.
I know, they leave their faces on too.
That's crazy.
Sorry, Chris.
Can you imagine how the Hindus feel about us eating cows?
I know, and I feel like they're right to. Like,
cows are so delicious, though.
I know.
But they are very passive and beautiful
and
at the same time.
Friendly.
Yeah.
Like, man, cows have best
I've never
friends.
met a cow I didn't like. Every time I meet a cow, I love it. It's so friendly.
I was vegan for a really long time, and I feel tremendous guilt, maybe justifiably so, about all the hamburgers that I've consumed.
You shouldn't, though, because those cows still would have died even if you didn't eat those hamburgers. Like, sometimes being a cog in a big system isn't great, but sometimes that big system is an iPhone.
I don't want...
Like, you might be a sex organ of the AI that's coming out, the Jesus AI that's coming one day, and eating burgers might just be part of that. I mean, there's just... What I'm saying is, like, you can't stop the cows from getting killed. It's like if you went to someone's house as a vegetarian and they were having a meal, they'd have to say, well, we're not going to cook her a portion, and they'd cook you a different thing.
Yeah.
But they'd still buy that pack of hamburger.
That's true.
They'd throw away that piece.
But
and then the cow wouldn't get honored by being eaten.
Fuck that. I do not want to be honored.
You know how to
dishonor me.
You know it's funny, I was telling Chris this the other day too. Out of all the meat, if I got killed and turned into, the kind of meat that I think is the lowest is lunch meat. You're going to design me for one fucking meal?
Bologna?
Yeah.
You fucking turned me into bologna?
Like lunch meat. I'm only good for one fucking meal.
Yeah.
Like bacon, you can eat for lunch, dinner, breakfast. Like it seems breakfasty, but you can eat bacon anytime.
The lowest.
But lunch meat is for lunch only.
The lowest of the lunch meats would be like that bologna with macaroni in it.
Ooh.
You fucking know what I'm talking about?
That's gross.
It's got like yellow macaroni and cheese macaroni dotted in it. It's nasty.
Oh my God. My old crazy Indian uncle that I tell you jokes about, my Uncle Si, he was 100% Indian too. Like this motherfucker was a whoa 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 type Indian too, you know. That he used to trade and not like trade shit like Indians would trade. Like that's the kind of shit he believed in. Like he was a weirdo, but he loved gross lunch meat. Fucking
my
loved
mom
it.
Loves gross lunch
olive
meat.
Loaf and shit like that.
Yeah, that's my mom's favorite.
You put chunks
loaf.
of gross shit in there. He loved it. He would just eat it, and that's all he'd eat is meat. That's it. No breads, no fucking calories. He was Atkins before Atkins was cool. He was the Indian Atkins.
Why? Did he tell you why ever?
Never really explained it.
Like, I hate.
In the morning, we'd have every day we almost ate the same thing. In the morning, we'd have bacon wrapped in, hot dog wrapped in bacon, fried. That's what he ate for breakfast. He'd cook you as many of those as you wanted. Sometimes he'd get fancy and wrap sausage instead. And then for lunch, we'd usually eat onions. So I take it back, he did eat vegetables. He would chop up a bunch of onions and eat those for lunch. And then for dinner was always a giant steak or a giant burger. Wow. Without a bun or nothing, just on a plate. And he would bring out horseradish and mustard.
That sounds, first of all...
And that's all he'd eat every fucking day.
Delicious. Second of all, wow.
It's weird, isn't it? To eat the same shit every day?
Actually, I eat the same shit every day.
Do you? Like Similac almost, baby?
Like... Pretty much every day I have...
That's the part of you I admire for being able to travel into the countries is eat that weird fucking octopus and shit.
It's bit me in the ass before, though. Like, I've definitely gotten sick overseas.
Over a foreign toilet?
Yeah. Or a hole. Or a trough.
Is it true that Arabs can't wipe their hand in some countries? They can't wipe their butt with toilet paper? You gotta use your hand and then rinse it?
There are some... countries where
no toilet paper?
No, there's toilet paper, but it's like
frowned upon.
No.
Oh.
No. It's like because that's the hand you use and it's not strictly Arabic cultures, but in different parts of the world, the hand that you use to clean yourself, you don't use to eat with or greet another person. Not because there isn't necessarily toilet paper, but because it's just bad manners.
So there's a bunch of left-handed wiping or shaking going on, one of the two.
Yeah, like,
so either
keep it clean.
I feel like I would rather shake your hand with an awkward shake than awkwardly wipe my ass. So I would still wipe right-handed because I'm predominantly right.
Yeah.
So I could get a nice, good-feeling wipe. But then I would just shake and greet everyone with my left and eat left-handed too. Because I would rather deal with a shaky fork than like jab myself in the asshole accidentally with a finger.
The white dude that
they probably just pretend like they don't beat off, but I imagine the same rules apply to masturbation. There's no strangers allowed in that country. You know, where you use the opposite hand. That's the stranger.
I don't know that. But I was gonna say the first European guy to be like, hey guys, maybe we should be washing our hands before we do surgery, or feeding each other, or whatever.
What a radical concept, huh?
Like, they ran him out of town on a rail.
They thought he was crazy.
So, like, the idea of somebody being like, hey, I'm not going to use this hand to touch you, I'm fine with that. That's the smart thing. Telling the guy who's like, hey, wash your hands, to go fuck himself is the culture that I have problems with.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine how many yeast infections they had back then when there wasn't hand washing? Because you finger bang with that dirty fingernail. That has got to be some gross.
That's pretty disgusting. Yes,
very disgusting.
Oh,
that is very gross. It's surprising we've survived as a species because, like, I know how picky I am. Like, Chris flashes a little bit of armpit hair, and I'm like, maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight. Can you imagine what savages they were back in the cowboy era in the 1800s? Like, they were.
I think it's weirder that people
dirty fingernails and hairy legs, and
I think it's weirder that
bad
people
breath.
Find like hair so
appalling.
It
is weird.
And I'm not saying that I don't, because I shave my legs and shave my armpits occasionally.
I let my pubes grow out the whole 10 years I was in prison.
Good.
When I first met Chris, it was like a jungle down there. She's like, you don't trim your pubes? I was like, I never thought I didn't know that was a thing.
But like,
she's like, you need to cut that shit.
It's fucking weird that we think that's something we should do. Why? It's so much work. Like, I think it's because it costs money to do it.
That's why I didn't. Well, it took effort, too. And I wasn't trying to groom my privates in prison. I didn't care what anyone thought of it. My shit looked like a hippie wiener dog, though. It was horrible.
You need to love me for who I am.
Yeah, and my crazy pubes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they grew pretty long. I mean, they still only grow so long.
Down to your knees?
I found out some scientific shit, though. They only grow so long.
Yeah, because they fall out.
They die and fall off at a certain length. Yeah, they're not like your head hair.
Well, no, head hair is like that, too.
It's just longer.
Some people's threshold is longer than others.
Oh, so it's probably the same way with bushes.
Yeah. There are people who can only grow their, like, head hair out to their shoulders, and it won't grow any longer than that. There's some people.
I bet you because I'm bald on top, I could grow a ridiculously good bush if I took care of it. Because that's the big thing. Is in prison, I washed it, but I didn't groom it.
You should get some coconut oil.
That's what I mean. Like, comb some nice stuff into it and try to get it to grow. Try to stimulate it.
Coconut oil and cocoa butter. You just fucking use that shit on everything. I bet that make the top of your head.
Those are a couple of common black products. Those are black products that white people can use, but that Magic Shave. White people can't use that shit.
Oh, well, you don't get ingrown hairs.
No.
I do, because I am a greasy Italian. Like, I'm so greasy.
Well, Italians are almost black people, basically. Yeah. On the social line. No, see, we get racial on here on Man Sharpens Man, too. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. You guys are not almost black.
I wouldn't mind if we were.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be almost black, too.
Assholes, man.
No, you guys are almost white. I don't even know what anything is.
That's all right.
I don't know where they get these terms and these colors from most of the time.
You know where they get them? Out of bullshit.
The only white people I see are gingers usually, and they're usually not very white.
I fucking hate gingers. Let me tell you something. I just found out I'm part Irish.
Oh, shit, you're part ginger.
Like,
Would you find a red pube?
No, my hair's all black. My hair's black. Or white. Or white. But my dad took one of those DNA tests, and I had no idea that I was Irish. And, you know, being Irish is kind of like being vegan or not owning a television. Like, as soon as you know, you have to tell everybody you know.
You know how some people come up with conspiracy theories about evil shit? Most conspiracy theories have something to do with something evil. People are like, oh, they're up to some nefarious shit.
They're trying to control the world.
Right, see, I have conspiracy theories that are on the good side sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And that's maybe because I was evil once in my life. Maybe that's why I have good conspiracy. I don't know why I have them, but I feel like it's a good thing. It's a different thing, but I do. You want to hear my good conspiracy theory? I think that genealogy.com was started by a bunch of cool-ass people that wanted to end racism. Because everyone's so interested in what they are, they can't help but send in.
I love it.
And once you send in, even your darkest nigga finds out he's part white. Even your whitest honky finds out he's part Jew or part something. Like, everyone finds out they got a cut on him.
You know what?
We're all just shitty bags of cocaine.
You know what's funny about that?
We have a strong cut on all of us.
You know what's funny about that is I didn't like Irish people.
And now you have...
I'm serious. I feel like an asshole admitting it, but I was like... I would have never in a million years thought that I was Irish, and B, like,
with
that
the drinking
was the
habit,
one thing I wouldn't want to be.
With the drinking habit, come on now, you should have leaned towards that. Come on, you should have leaned right towards that.
But
you knew when you were getting drunk like that, you should have known. I'm either part Irish or part Indian. But no, I see what I'm saying. Genealogy. I'm not a racist motherfucker. People know that on my show. If you're just tuning in and you just listen to that and you think I'm racist, fuck you anyhow. No, but people listen to my man Sharp. You know what I accidentally said when I was recording with Dave Graves? Did you hear that whole episode? At the end, I accidentally said that I'm not even going to tell you what I accidentally said because it was horrible. I'll tell you after this show. Okay. I accidentally said some horrible shit, but that's what I'm saying. Love sometimes takes a weird fucking form, and you accidentally say some shit that sounds bad, and like they can take it out of context and make the shit sound horrible. But everything I say has love in the middle of it.
Every day is a learning experience.
It is.
And...
But isn't that a crazy cool conspiracy theory? Yeah. Genealogy.com might be an attempt to end racism.
I would love if it was.
A bunch of, like, Oprah got together with the guy from U2.
The thing that's
like,
cool
like a bunch of rich people like Oprah and Deepak Chopra and the dude from U2. Yeah, they could get together and put together their rich, good people money and have, like, a nefarious good plot.
The fucking amazing thing about that, though, is there doesn't even need to be a conspiracy, because we all are, like, you know, a bunch of different things, because these things are kind of...
I don't know, Jenny. Right now it might have to be a conspiracy, because look at who's in charge. Look at what happened. Hate bubbled up to the surface just like lava does eventually, and look who's in charge right now.
Well,
and it's not like... I really don't think that Donald Trump is racist at all. I think he's got the same amount of racism as any dude that's his age, that's in his position, that's lived his life would have. I don't think he's any extra level of racist or...
I don't know. I would disagree with you. I think he's a racist bag of shit. Like, I'm not gonna mince words.
But I'm just saying, but you see why the conspiracy would have to exist? For him to be in charge right now and for that level to be top... Like, you almost would have to sneak to get your good agenda passed.
Like, the thing is like, I think that not only is he a racist bag of shit, I think, like, most people with that much money are.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying about the genealogy.com conspiracy. If you came out and said, hey, I'm going to start doing this thing called genealogy where you can send your DNA in and get it checked, and the reason I'm doing it is because I want to end racism in the world, and I want everyone to see that they got some other kind of person in them. People like Donald Trump and them rich old white people that don't want to see the truth, that don't want to admit global warming and shit is real, would then rise up. I know, but then they would rise up and say, no, genealogy.com is either fake, or it can't exist, or they would fight against it. Where if you were just real discreet about it, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to do this thing.
But, you know, like, there are people in the alt-right that are saying the genealogy.com and places like that are fake. There are people like that are saying that shit.
That's crazy, and that's the reason then. That would be the reason.
They don't believe like that they're not 100% Wonder Bread.
And it's not. And see, it's not even that they don't want to believe it. It's they don't want other people to believe it, because then they lose their power. Because they don't really.
That's true.
They don't really care what they are, as long as they have power over other people and can get that money and can get that hate.
Yeah.
Because when you hate, it's almost like people that do drugs. When you do drugs or drink, you want the people around you to do drugs and drink.
That's true.
Because then you don't feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Hate is the same way, and that's what it is. But that's why I think that conspiracy theories, the good ones, almost would have to exist right now, because there's a lot of hate right there in the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, if to avoid that hate and really get your movement to go, it takes not standing up and say, I'm making a movement. You can't be that Colin Kilpatrick that's going to sit down during the anthem. You need to stand up during the anthem and do your good work in private.
Have you seen that? It's like an old reel, newsreel, like public access thing about this guy standing up to hate speech. And he's like, but I'm a Mason. Masons aren't bad. and like, for me, it's like, motherfuckers, I was baptized Catholic. I'm not on the list now, but I will be. Like, it's man, people have short memories. Like, they have short memories, because anytime there's any kind of system where somebody is getting stepped on, you can always be the person getting stepped on.
Oh, hell yeah.
And fuck that. Like, I don't know.
That's why you always just have to be happy with you. That's where change comes from, Jenny. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is the only person you can change is you. Once you start being a better person, the world's perfect all of a sudden. When you take that next breath, and your next breath is a good one, the world's a perfect place all of a sudden. It's very hippie of me to say, but I really feel that way.
Well, you know.
But there is a lot of fucked up people out there.
Nothing wrong with being a hippie.
There's nothing wrong with it, but there is something wrong with it, and that's why I think that those good conspiracies exist, and I think they're a good thing.
Well,
I think you got to sneak and be good once in a while. Me and you need to start a revolution of good conspiracies.
Sneaky goodness. Yeah, I'm down with that.
And everyone that's listening to this, be sneaky and be nice. Like I do it too. Chris will attest to this. My wife will tell you, I go out in public and do sneaky nice shit to people.
Did you know it's illegal to put money in somebody else's fucking meter? It's illegal.
That's so mean. Like, I did know that too. Someone told me that before.
Why does the state care? They're getting the money. You know why they care?
They would rather get more for the ticket.
More for the ticket.
That's not spreading niceness.
No, man.
That's spreading meanness.
That's so jacked up.
That's just like when they get like undercover cops to sell people drugs or buy people drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do they do it 7 times and then arrest them? Why wouldn't they arrest them after the first time?
Because they want to sell them a bigger amount to bust them for more time, I assume.
Right, but what if you're waiting to sell it to them 7 times, and on the 3rd time the fucking guy overdoses?
Oh my God! You think that's why?
No, but that's not why they're doing it. But I bet you anything in the world that the police aren't like, oh shit, today we fucked up because we were trying to do an undercover thing and we caused some guy to OD. Or we let this guy sell heroin for an extra 2 weeks so we could get a bigger buy next week. And during that 2 weeks, he sold enough heroin to kill half the city.
Oh my God!
You see what I mean? It's all about being greedy, and you know, it's all crazy. The world's a crazy place. We can't fix it on this podcast, but it is why I started this podcast, because I have at least enough eloquence to come out of prison and tell people that prison is a fucked up place, and everyone there isn't guilty. And you could wake up tomorrow in a weird fucking situation.
Oh, yeah.
So, just wake up and be grateful for every day.
Yeah.
And
have compassion for people and yourself.
And yourself. That's where it all starts. Compassion for your own self. Be nice. Spread niceness.
Yeah, sneak that niceness in.
Sneak it in. That's where we're going to start our niceness conspiracy movement.
Be a nice rebel.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, like, the standard now
when
is
you're at Walmart,
asshole.
When you're at Walmart and the clerk is retarded and she's being a cunt to you, and she's, like, just sucks in general, just be nice to her.
You just tell her...
I just tell her jokes, brighten her day.
Your hair looks
I rhyme her name with something funny or something like that. That's what I do every time. Yep, I do it every time. I disarm them, and then I make the rest of their day has got to be better. Because it's like, hey, this fucking crazy bald dude came through, and you should.
I always have better days when people are nice to me.
That's how I feel. That's why I go out and plant my little nice conspiracy seeds.
Yeah.
I didn't start genealogy.com, but I am nice to the clerk at Walmart, damn it. I do my little piece. All right, Jen, we're going to get out of here. This has been Man Sharpens Man. You are episode number 30. What a distinction, huh? Episode number 30. That's an important... That's like a milestone.
Yeah.
You're on a milestone episode.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on my show. We're going to get you back soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Man Sharpens Man, Peace Pot, and Microdot.